Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the LocksOTD podcast. This is episode number 12, and I'm back here with Andrew and Zach. We're here today to lock you in once again with some free locks. We're locks of the day for a reason, so you know we're going to lock you in today with the free NBA, free NHL, even some free tennis, and then, of course, we got tonight's game with the Texans and the Jets. And then we're going to go into Sunday's slate and give you that, which is our hot locks. Last week we went 1-3 on our Sunday slate, which now brings us to 16-8 in the last six podcasts. But we are up plus 11.9 units, which is still very good value and profit. Mind you, we have not gone negative on a single week so far this season through the first 8 weeks. We are up over 60 units. Last week we hit K. Dotton 2 touchdowns plus 2K, and the week before that we hit Mark Andrews plus 2,200 on 2 touchdowns. So make sure you look out on our Instagram. We post all our picks there at LocksOTD. Don't miss out. YouTube's not the only thing, but hey, we're here to give you the free pick, so let's go over them.
My pick last week was the was the Bills and Seahawks over 44.5. Bills did their thing with scoring 31. Seahawks just couldn't find it, couldn't get the offense rolling. Didn't realize it was going to be raining that day in Seattle either. And I did check the weather a couple days prior, said no rain. Checked the ESPN right next to it, said no rain, said it was going to be a beautiful day out there. And of course, what happened? It rained, slowed the game down. Except for the Bills. Bills were fine. They did their thing, but Seahawks just couldn't do it, sadly. So I gave you another L. Not happening
It
this
is
week.
what it is. It is what
Not
it is.
happening.
Yep. Um, Everyone's going to lose. Everyone's going to win. The goal is obviously to win much more than we lose. 1-3, that's not winning more than we lose. That's why we're back this week for a little redemption week. Last week, I gave you a 3-star Evan Ingram, 5+ receptions at a minus 165. He didn't do it either. He had 4 receptions and a touchdown. So he missed by one. Then I also gave you Tyreek Hill, 80+ receiving yards, minus 125. He had 6 receptions with 72 yards. So he missed by 8. The thing is, he had 69 at halftime. So for him to not hit the 11 yards in the second half was probably like a plus 5K, but he did it. He got it done to give us the X. So we started off 0-3, and then Zach, you cashed again. So tell him what you had.
Yeah, we had our Commanders money line plus 130, and we did say hop on it for the line changes. Washington went off at -2 before that game. It was a minus 115. And what a great game that was if you watched it. Washington, not a lot of offense, but the Hail Mary to win it. Tyreek Stevenson, Bears corner. Thank you. Appreciate you a lot for Bears money or Commanders money line. So plus or cash in the plus for us. So that was our 2-star that hit on the pod.
Love it. And yeah, like you said, that was a great line. You even mentioned, don't be surprised if closer to the game time, Jaden Daniels starts to play and is more likely to play. And then what happens? He plays. And then they win. Crazy win, like you said, that Bears dude just bragging in the end zone and then just gets
Yeah.
fucked.
Dude, that
Like
was
that's
so
crazy.
funny.
I
So
know.
funny.
That's instant karma.
Yeah.
Instant karma. Never forget that one. But Zach, lock him in with the free NBA picks.
Yeah, so our 3-star today is going to be Spurs money line plus 110. Spurs are going to be in Utah tonight, coming off a back-to-back. They gave a OKC team a tough game last night. What I'm looking at here in this game is the Spurs veteran leadership, I think, is going to take over and help them win this game. Picking up CP3 in the offseason has really helped them out. Their offense has looked good. They picked up Harrison Barnes, who's averaging over 10 points a game. I think the big X factor for them right now is Jeremy Sochan, who's possibly put up one of the quietest seasons so far through the first 4 or 5 games. He's averaging 19 and 9. I think he's trying to prove himself, knowing that as the Spurs team gets better, they're going to bring in some better guys, and he wants to show Greg Popovich that he is fit to be a starter in this lineup. I think the other thing for the Jazz tonight is Lauri Markkanen is a game time decision tonight. Hurt his back in the last game, and he only played half the game against the Kings. And I think another thing too is that this Jazz team, for what I've been looking at, even minutes wise, they're trying to play a lot of their young guys. They're 0-4 so far. When you look at their last couple of seasons, they're trying to rebuild. Winning isn't really in the cards right now. They lost their number 10 pick from last year, Taylor Hendricks, sadly broke his leg. So they replaced him with who? Their number 10 pick from this year, Cody Williams. And then besides that, you have Walker Kessler, another young kid from their 2022 draft first round pick. Keontae George, 2023 first round pick. Coming off their bench, who Kyle Filipowski is playing more minutes than John Collins, who John Collins isn't even starting on this Jazz team. Filipowski was a early second round pick. Then you have Bryce Sensabaugh, who was a first round pick in the 2023 draft for the Jazz. If you sense where I'm going with this, the Jazz are playing all of their picks instead of the veterans on their team. They're swapping out guys like Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson. Patty Mills is barely touching the floor, who's a good veteran point guard for any team right now. And Drew Eubanks, who was a big part of the Suns last year, another good veteran, barely playing, maybe not even playing at all. So this Jazz team is more focused with trying to build their younger guys and really trying to go out and win games. And I think you're going to see the Spurs and their veteran leadership take over tonight, and these young guys are going to struggle against a talented Spurs team. So for the 2-star, it's going to be Bucks -4.5 at a -145. So the line was still pretty good. So we're going to bump it down a couple points because the line's already going up. Last night it was at -5. It's already at -6.5. So this game, I think you're going to see Dame and Giannis are really going to take over. Right now, they're both a combined averaging 56 points per game. That's about 44% of their team's offensive total throughout the season, which is kind of nuts. Brooke Lopez and Bobby Portis have each been averaging double digits. And Torian Prince, who they picked up from the Lakers, is having a quiet season, averaging 8.5, but he's shooting at 56%, which is a great clip. The only disappointment so far, because he's been filling in for Chris Middleton, is Gary Trent Jr., who they picked up from the Raptors. He's been averaging about 16 to 18 points the last 4 seasons, but so far averaging 8 points a game, 9 points a game. He's only shooting at a 35% clip. But I think tonight he's really going to break out. I think Memphis has a lot of issues on their end. They were just a 13-point favorite last night against Brooklyn and got beat at home by 13. They really struggled last night. They've already got 3 guys out already from earlier this season. Luke Kennard, Gigi Jackson, Vince Williams Jr. are already all out. They haven't played at all. To make matters worse for them last night, Marcus Smart, 5 minutes in, ankle injury. See ya. He's gone. Desmond Bane at halftime, oblique injury, injured. He's gone. So now both those guys game time decision on a back-to-back against one of the best teams in the East. One or two of them, they may not play in this game. And where this Grizzlies team has struggled a lot, turnovers. 82 turnovers in 5 games. They're a top 8 team right now in turnovers, so they're averaging almost 17 turnovers a game. Why is that? Because with all these injuries, they're playing all these young first-year, second-year guys coming off their bench. They had 22 turnovers last night. 13 of them came off their bench, and those guys don't play a lot of minutes. I think you're going to see the same thing here tonight. This Bucks team has too much firepower and too much depth, and 4.5 points is not that much to cover. And this Grizzlies team, I think, is going to struggle again at home.
Lock that in over there, kid.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes. Yeah,
So we're gonna
sorry, Bucks 4.5 -145. I'm just going to repeat it again, just so we're good.
So yeah, we'll swing over into the NHL premium locks now, get you locked in there. But first off, going to explain the quick system we have for locks of the day. We base everything on a star rating system. 1 star, which is free picks, and that's just 1 unit. 2 star, which is 2 units, and that's a premium pick. And 3 star, which is of course 3 units, and that's a premium pick. So 2 and 3 stars, we only give the premium members who pay, of course. But on the podcast and on YouTube, we give out just on Thursday all of our premium picks for free. So that take advantage of this, lock these in. Let's make some profit today. So bang, right back into NHL. Starting off with a 3 star. We got the Pittsburgh Penguins to win in regulation, -120 versus the Anaheim Ducks. You could see it on some sites that say could like 60-minute line or 3-way money line. Just means they're going to win in regulation and the game doesn't go to overtime. Pretty simple. So the Ducks, they just came off a 3-1 win against the Islanders, but they got completely outplayed, doubled in shots, whatever, you know. And the Islanders are not good. They are 3-5-2. So it's not that impressive to get outplayed by the Islanders at all. Ducks aren't good either. They're 4-4-1, with 2 of their wins coming against the 2-7 Sharks. So half of their wins are against a bottom team. On the other hand, the Penguins are one of the most vetted teams in the league. Yes, they're not doing so hot right now. They're 3-7-1, but their losses are against the Maple Leafs, Hurricanes, Canucks, Wild, Jets, Flames, Rangers, Oilers. Like, you just combine those teams' records that they've been beat by, it's 45, 19, and 9. So they have yet to even been beat by a bad team. These are all good teams, and they're all playoff teams, every single one of them. So yes, the Penguins are 3-7, but it's early on in the season as well. So I think they should dominate the Ducks heavily on offense and defense, and I just believe they're going to win this game in regulation, no problem. So minus 120, beautiful value. So Andy, give them the 2-star kid.
Yeah, I love that. 2-star for today in the NHL will be the Chicago Blackhawks money line minus 145. They're playing the 2-7-2 Sharks. Sharks just won their last 2 games. Do not see them winning 3 straight. Sharks are the third most penalized team, averaging 13 penalty minutes per game. It's just they can't figure it out. They're just a bad organization when it comes down to it. They can't figure it out. Just it comes up from the top of the organization and it just works its way down. It's just bad. Um, and the Blackhawks, uh, their power play percentage isn't the best. It's middle of the NHL, but that's the thing when you have guys like Bedard, you can't let them have open ice. Like he'll just rip you apart. He'll go through any defense in the league. It doesn't matter how bad or how good your team is. And the Sharks let up about 4 goals on average per game. And both their goalies this year have not been doing too hot. You got Mackenzie Blackwood averaging 3.89 goals a game under an 8.8 save percentage. And they also have Vitek Vanacek averaging 3.65 a game and also under an 8.79. So both goalies under a point 0.9 under a point 0.9. Their defense just isn't good, letting up over 33 shots per game. So they're getting peppered out there. So it's not just the goalie's fault. It's the defense, it's the system. Like they're not good. Chicago should be able to beat this team pretty easily in San Jose. Lock that in minus 145. Those are our 2 NHL picks for the day. And I think Angel's got a little tennis pick for you.
Absolutely, I do. So I'll get the tennis in real quick for you. Just a little 2-star, one play. So it's a 2-unit play. We got Thanasi Kokonakis minus 5.5 at a minus 110 versus Shirashi, something like that. You know what I mean? Sorry if I mispronounce your name, bud. But Kokonakis is ranked number 87 in the world, but he's easily a top 50 player. Like I said previously, rankings don't mean everything. This match is on hard court, which is by far Kokonakis' best surface, unless you're talking grass. Hardcourt grass is somewhat similar for tennis. Um, Past 2 months, he has beaten Stefanos, Tsitsipas, my bad, Arthur Fields, Gail Monfils, Jacob Mensik, in a very tight match with Hubert Hurkacz, which, like, I mean, Stefanos, Hurkacz, those are like top 10, top 15 players right there. I'd say top 10. And then you got Gail Monfils, Mensik, who's playing insane right now. Like, Arthur Field, those are all top 25 players, every single one right there that he's beaten or played very close with. And he's a very, very heavy server going up against a guy who's ranked number 518 in the world, who hasn't done a thing that's impressive. I mean, this guy's beaten Pullmans, who's a little Australian last match, but Pullmans hasn't even been playing well. And everyone that this guy Shirashi plays from Japan, everyone's below rank like 500 to 1,000. So these guys are not useless, but I mean, they're not very competitive down there. I'll put it that way. So Kokonakis should absolutely dominate this guy. And he is just better in every aspect. So minus 5.5, minus 110 should be cake work. That's 6-3, 6-3. Chalk it up as a dub. And let's get into the good old NFL. Right
Sick.
into the Texans and Jets game on tonight. So I know we got a teaser. We've been smacking on these teasers recently. So make sure you tail this one. And Andy, give him the lock of the day.
Yes, sir. We got a little lock of the day. It's right here. It's going to be the Jets plus 4.5 and over 29.5. That's a minus 160. Uh, take a little step back here and look at this game for a second. Don't look at no lines, just look at the game. You see a Texans team that's 6-2 and a Jets team that's 2-6. If you don't look at the lines beforehand, you'd think the Texans should be favored by a little bit. But no. Jets 2-point favorites. Texans little banged up. Diggs done for the year. They got a starting center out. They got a starting safety out. Starting linebacker out. So, I mean, now looking at it, Jets should be slightly favored, but not too much because they haven't been looking too great this year. And them being 2-6, losing their last 5 games, should make the public bet a little bit more heavy on the Texans, and they have. The money right now is a little bit over 65% on a plus. Usually that doesn't really happen too much in the NFL where a plus hits when there's more money on it. So that's something to think about. And you're gonna see primetime Aaron Rodgers tonight. Like this is where he's gonna come out and he's gonna make a statement. He's gonna get that dub tonight. And now that Rodgers and Adams they've had a couple of weeks of chemistry here, you're gonna see a different Jets offense that's gonna move the ball more effectively down the field and put some more points up on the board. And I think Angela's got a little prop for you.
Oh, I do. But just to add on to even what you just said with the little teaser, the Jets plus 4.5 and over 29.5 at a minus 160. The Jets have a lot more to play for. They lose this game, their season's arguably over. They're in a tight spot. Houston Texans, they have room to lose. Their division's terrible. They're missing their top two receivers in Nico Collins and Diggs, like you mentioned. And then you have who? You have Tank Dell, who, yeah, he's good, but then you have Sauce Gardner, who's going to cover him all game. So then you're really stuck with about Schultz and Joe Mixon, and the Jets defense is no joke. So, I mean, I expect the Jets to put on a show tonight. Might not be a blowout, but I do believe that they win this game. And that teaser, you can lock that in. And like you said, the prop of the night, well, here we go. For the Jets, little two-star. Devontae Adams, over 4.5 receptions, minus 150, which that one is on DraftKings and ESPN Bet. He hasn't hit this yet in his 2 games with the Jets, only getting 3 receptions, then 4 receptions. So, moving up slowly, but while getting 9 targets and 6 targets. So he's getting his looks, just not connecting completely yet. And that's why we think tonight is the game where they do. Keyword, yet. Because tonight, him and Rodgers, I mean, it's prime time. They need to win. It's a big game. Who's going to connect? I just think it's Rodgers Adams. Just easy. Easy as 1, 2, 3, right? Alan Lazard isn't even playing tonight, who's since Adams has been there, he's taken a total of 10 catches and 11 targets. So that's a lot of targets that are open for Adams. And then you got Devontae, who's still a top 5, arguably number 1 route runner in the league. So don't overlook this. And I mean, Adams can really hit 5 receptions on 1 to 2 drives. Like him and Rodgers just bang, bang, boom, just throwing dots. Like it's very easy for Adams to get 5 receptions over a whole game span. You're asking for 1.25 a quarter. Come on, Adams. I know you got that for us. So lock those 2 in for Thursday Night Football. Those are our Houston versus Jets locks. Now we're going to go into our hot NFL Sunday locks. Andy, kick them off.
Yep. 3-star for Sunday will be the Chicago Bears money line plus 105, playing the Cardinals. Bears obviously coming off that very disappointing loss, but only allowing 18 points to the second best offense in the league. Pretty good. Goes to show you how good their defense actually is. And the Commanders did put up a ton of yards, almost 480 of them, but they were 0 for 3 in the red zone. It's a good red zone defense that the Bears got. And Bears averaged 17 points, letting up 17 points per game, which is the second lowest in the league. So Cardinals, they're gonna have a tough time with these Bears, and their defense is struggling a lot this year. Bottom 6 in the league, letting up 370 yards on average, also 25 points per game. Even though Caleb Williams struggled last week, he's still has shown in the past 3 weeks prior to last week that he can win games and that he's going to be something decent in the league. Like he's just learning right now. These are all learning games. This is the first rookie year. He's just got to figure it out and test the waters. But that's the thing. In those 3 games that they had a little 3-game win streak, the Bears scored over 24 points in each of those games. And if you look into the yards the yards per game that the Bears have, they're low-key one of the lowest in the league, which is weird because they scored, I mean, decent amount. But the only reason is their defense is so good that they score as basically as many points as their offense has this year, with pick sixes and fumble recoveries. And that's the thing. When the Bears do move down that field and get into that red zone, they are the second most efficient red zone offense, scoring at 68.5% of the time. And I'm pretty sure the Lions are the number 1 team right now. And I mean, they're just going off. But that's the thing. If the Bears can move the ball down the field and put themselves in scoring positions, they will win this game with ease. The Cardinals will not be able to chase them down at all. So lock that in. It's a plus 105, so slight little plus for a 3-star, 3 units, plus 105, lock that in.
Love it. Zach, lock them in with your 2-star over there.
Yeah, so we're going Raiders plus 8.5 at a minus 135 in Cincinnati this week. One reason I love this game is the Raiders have been playing really well. They haven't been winning, but what's the big thing? They've been covering, and that's a big one. A lot of these weeks where, a lot of these bigger favorites, they're being favored, the money's tending to favor these big guys. The Raiders have been covering. When the Raiders are 7-point dogs or more this year, they're 3-0 against the spread. 1-2 straight up, 3-0 against the spread. On the opposite side, the Bengals, when they're 7-point favorites or more, what are they? They're 0-2. And they're 0-2 at home in both these games. And the Raiders have been coming off 3 straight weeks now where they are a massive underdog. And they're going to win one of these games at some point. And for some reason this Sunday, they might just mess around, go into Cincinnati and win this game because it wouldn't be unlikely for a team like Cincinnati to lose this game. They've got Gardner Minshew back at starting quarterback, who will be going into Cincinnati this Sunday against a below average Bengals defense that has struggled. They've given up 30 points this season at least 4 times, so over half their games. And Joe Burrow and that offense has struggled from time to time. They haven't really put up too much the last couple of weeks. They had a really good stretch where they put up about 30 points in 3 games. These last 3 weeks or so, 17, 14, and 17. They aren't scoring a lot. And that Raiders defense is pretty good for a defense that's on the field a lot because their offense hasn't been able to really generate too much. That Raiders defense can play. I feel like Max Crosby is going to have a field day out there on defense dealing with that Bengals O line. So I think Raiders 8.5. They're going to keep this one close. Even if they don't win, they're going to keep this one close. And we're going to lock in that 2-star right there. Raiders 8.5 minus 135.
I'm a
Yep.
fan.
Good
And
teams win, great teams cover.
that's right. And
Mhm.
Raiders, they cover. Just give us the money. I don't care if you win. Give us the money. Win the bet. That's all that matters.
Mhm.
But yeah, obviously the Bengals are going to have more star players. That's why they're favored. But you can't sleep on Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker. Like, still a decent offense there. They can put up some points. They can cover that game, no problem. So I'm going to lock in with a little 3-star. We're going to go back to our other 3-unit play for Sunday. I got the Baltimore Ravens at a -7, minus 145 versus the Broncos. The line, I believe, is a -9, so I bought 2 points to make it the -7, so a touchdown just pushes, but I believe they're going to blow them out. Anyways, first off, the Broncos are frauds. Their defense is very good, and they have probably the number one cornerback in the league in Patrick Surtain. He's my favorite personally. But I believe they've looked a lot better than they truly are as a team. Bo Nix, who has looked pretty decent actually the past few weeks, surprising a lot of people. How is he going to do against an overpowered Ravens team? That's what I want to see. I expect the Ravens, like I said, to dominate them. They're just better overall on offense and arguably defense, even though Denver does have a good defense. I know Ravens have given up a lot of points on defense, but if you look at their schedules, the Broncos have had like a pretty easy schedule, and Ravens are no slouch schedule. Like every game the Ravens play, it's a tough matchup pretty much. Then you got Derrick Henry, who's averaging more than 118 yards and a touchdown per game. Averaging more than. So he's averaging more than a touchdown per game. He's got 9 and 8 games. Wild. Then you got Mark Andrews, who's just finally found his groove and with a few TDs the past couple games. That doesn't hurt you. Then you can also talk about Zay Flowers, who's had 300 plus receiving games in the past 4. That's also amazing. They're just buzzing on offense. I mean, they averaged 31 and a half points per game on offense, and the Broncos averaged 21.6 points per game on offense. But like I said, playing much worse teams than the Ravens do, and that's a 10-point difference right there. Then you add in the difficulty of schedule, it's like a little more of a gap. So simply, I'll just take Lamar and the Ravens over Bo Nix and the Broncos to lock in Ravens -7 at a -145 as a 3-star. Then we'll move on to our last Sunday pick, little 2-star. On the Cleveland Browns, we got Cedric Tillman. The line isn't out yet, but I believe it's going to come out at an over 3.5 receptions. Like I said, I don't know the line. It might come out as over 4.5. It'd probably be a plus, but I think over 3.5 would be like a -155 if I had to guess. Just a guess. I'm going to probably put question marks below, but you're going to see the line on Sunday. Today's Thursday, so they don't have the lines out, like I said. Cedric Tillman is 6'3". He's 260 pounds. He's obviously a receiver, and he just became part of the Browns offense as of 2 weeks ago now. The first 6 weeks he played, he never played more than 37% of snaps. So you can't even look at those numbers. He was never a part of the game. The past 2 games, he's played 82% and 90% of snaps while getting 15 receptions, 21 targets, 180 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Like, this dude is almost breaking out right now currently as the Browns' #1 wide receiver now that Amari Cooper's gone. Jerry Jeudy hasn't really found his groove since he's been in the NFL. And then you got Elijah Moore, who's honestly not a bad pick either this week, but we went with Cedric Tillman for a reason. Jameis Winston also was the starter last game, and when he was, Tillman had 7 receptions, 9 targets, 99 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Just went off. Winston is starting once again, which is great for the Browns offense and production. So you know Winston, he's just going to sling the ball, got no problem. Whether it's going to get picked, whether it's a touchdown, he's going to throw the ball, which we want for receptions. And although the Chargers D is pretty tough, I believe Winston will give Tillman at least 5 to 6 targets minimum, where he just needs to catch 4. So Cedric Tillman, over 3.5 receptions. Don't know the line, but lock that in as a 2-star. You guys got anything else?
No, should be good.
All set. Sweet. So that wraps up podcast number 12. Make sure you get all those picks in: the NBA, NHL, tennis, tonight's game with the Texans and Jets, and then the good old hot Sunday locks. And thank you once again for tuning in. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe and follow us at LocksOTD on every platform. And we're out of here. See you next week. Peace.